Yeah. Okay, lovely. We are now live streaming. So, Madam Mayor, over to you to open the meeting.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome back, members, officers, aldermen, and any members of the public and press viewing this reconvened meeting of the Council, which was adjourned last Wednesday. I'd like to thank the Chairman and members of the Licensing Committee for their assistance with helping us to hold this reconvened meeting this evening. Before we start the meeting, Miss Willis, may I please have any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've received apologies from the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sarah Jane Croke, and also from Councillor Dan Adams and Councillor Paul Dean.
Thank you. Agenda item 11. I would like to invite the leader to introduce the report of the Governance Working Group and to move the recommendation therein.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The working group met on the 29th of May. At the meeting, we mainly reviewed the Employment Committee's remit and the other related matters. The working group has made a number of recommendations on the Employment Committee's and its subcommittees' terms of reference as follows. To strengthen some of the wording around the head of paid service, referring grievance or disciplinary matters for non-statutory senior officers, where the head of paid service is conflicted by reasons of impartiality, prior involvement, or other reasons. To clarify, an appointment subcommittee will interview and appoint two acting up roles for senior officers, where the role will be for more than a month. To make the Employment Committee responsible for agreeing any incremental pay rises for the Chief Exec, where the relevant pay band, these payments are contractual based on performance, and they will be made in accordance with the appraisal paperwork. To make the Employment Committee responsible for recommending senior management restructures and agreeing the process for recruiting a Chief Exec. And in respect of ex gratia payments for senior officers, financial regulations and the terms of reference of the Employment Committee have been updated to provide clear processes for decision making by the committee and authorization by a suitable number of officers. This is very much in line with the recommendations from the Brown-Jacobson report. I move that the recommendation at paragraph 6.1 of the report be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Do you have a seconder?
I'd like to second that proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any comments, members? Is that agreed, members? No comments. Is that agreed, members? Thank you. Agenda item 12, the section 151 officer. Members, you will recall we agreed this item last Wednesday. Item 13, I would like now to invite members to ask questions of the leader, Councillor Alan McClafferty, on issues relating to executive functions. Can I now have the first question from members, please? Councillor Betton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've had a few queries about the state of the bins in Frimley Green Recreation Park. This has come up before, and we've introduced an additional number of dog poo bins, but there are only actually 3 litter bins in the entire area. Is it possible to extend the number of litter bins? Because you're getting rubbish piled up around the dog bins and in the dog bins. It's not as if people are just leaving it lying around. It would be good if there was somewhere close by where they could dispose of their rubbish. It would make it easier for collection. It would keep the park more healthy looking. Is that possible?
Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Betton. Madam Mayor, if I may, I know this item is called Questions of the Leader, and I would be happy to answer Councillor Betton. I think I know a bit about the bins and poo bins in Frimley Green Rec. But Councillor Jennings-Evans is the portfolio holder, and she has a much better handle on more information for this. Is it appropriate to ask Councillor Jennings-Evans to answer?
You have to answer this question, Councillor Jennings-Evans.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. Yes, this issue was originally raised to me by Councillor Croke on the 18th of July with some rather nasty photos that came along with it of the state of the park. And I know that the team are now fully aware of the situation. The police are also aware of some of the drug paraphernalia that has been found in the park. In relation to the bins, I have asked the team to look at the costs of putting in more bins. However, they feel that they also need to investigate whether a better option would be to increase litter collections, as people are not always so good if a bin is available in actually using it. On top of that, we're also aware of the state of the picnic benches, and we are looking at repair and replacement costs for those as well. So hopefully we should be on top of this soon and the situation should be better.
Thank you. Councillor Bates and then Councillor Rise.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I've got a question which I think is to the leader, although again, if he wishes to pass it on to somebody else, I have no problem with that. As I'm sure he's well aware, on the 15th of September of this year, it will be the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. And I just wonder if he could outline for us what, if any, plans we have as a borough to commemorate that.
Thank you, Councillor Bates. I was actually aware 15th of September was the Battle of Britain because a mutual friend of ours, I think, has contacted me, and we are looking at plans to see if we can have something where we can have a day where the military involved. We're looking into the potential of things like flyovers, etc. We're looking for guests that will be invited to come along, but all of this is in the very early stages. I can't say that all of that is absolutely going to happen, but we are looking at the actual date and what we can do for the day.
Thank you. Councillor Rise.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last year, when the council passed the LGBTQ plus equality motion, it included a flag raising every year, which we're hoping to have organised for this year. And I'm just asking, will the council leader join me at the flag raising, which we're hoping to hold on the 3rd of August with Councillor Croke as well, and support the Pride community in Surrey Heath?
I'm going to try and give you a live answer to that, Councillor Rise. I would be delighted. And yes, I'm available. I would definitely be happy to join you.
Thank you. Councillor Tapper.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will take my question offline. It was actually for Councillor Jennings-Evans. I'll deal with it directly with her. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Whitcroft.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In view of the ongoing COVID crisis, I wonder, please, if the leader might be able to tell us what provisions are being made for residents who are unable to pay their council tax.
Leader.
Certainly. Thank you, Councillor Whitcroft. Throughout the crisis, as you can imagine, a number of residents have contacted us with expressing difficulties with paying their council tax. I know that our revenue and benefits people have been given some latitude in terms of agreeing either delays or helping out with the cash flow where the residents need to. There are a number of mechanisms in place, and if anyone does have that kind of issue, then they should definitely contact the council, the Revenue and Benefits Department, and they would be happy to talk through what we can do to help them.
Thank you. Councillor Malvaginam.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Related question. It's regarding the unemployment, which we are expected to go up even within Surrey Heath, based on what we have heard so far nationally. Has council made any provision regarding unemployed people and the possible raise in food banks? It's important that we are actually looking after our residents who are not able to work and are in difficulty.
Thank you, Councillor Malvaginam. I think that you're absolutely right. I think no one denies that COVID is definitely going to push the country into a recession, and from all accounts, I think it's going to be a very deep recession, and that is going to affect people financially without doubt, including our residents in Surrey Heath. We happen to be in a quite an affluent part of the country, but we still know, as we do, that there are large pockets of relative poverty in the area. In terms of the provision for helping them, obviously the government is in control of what happens in terms of benefits. I believe we are now covered in terms of the whole area by universal credits. That, depending on your view, I think it's a position that the government has taken, that that's what is the right amount, and there are a number of benefits in place to help alongside that. What we have done as a council is that we have made sure that we are available in the contact centre to deal with people who are struggling with unemployment benefit or universal credit. We've also put serious amounts of money through into charities, supporting charities. I'm not happy, along with everyone else, that food banks even exist in the country, but I'm afraid they do. But we support those food banks financially, and we support charities, and we support Citizens Advice Bureau, where they're able to give advice.
Thank you. Councillor Wren.
Thank you. Yeah, I think topically it's on the coronavirus as well, but more planning going forward, with local lockdowns looking very likely across the country as the approach from the government, which I think is a reasonable approach. What kind of provisions have been made here? Obviously, we've got the reg rating that we need to look at, and what preparations are being made for local lockdowns. For God heaven, we don't have to do it, but what provisions have been made for such a situation?
Thank you, Councillor Wren. Well, we are, of course, I think that it's fair to say that we're following that old saying, hope for the best, but plan for the worst. Of course, none of us want to see a local lockdown in Surrey Heath or anywhere near us, as there's been in Leicester. But I can say that I'm privy to the amount of planning that Mr. Passion and the senior management team have done, everything through communications, tracing, tracking, how we would actually cope with it in terms of how the officers would do it. We have got, I think we all know that we had a fantastic relationship that worked very well with Surrey Heath Prepared. We've taken great steps to make sure that Surrey Heath Prepared can be fired back up again if it's needed. So I think that overall we have as good plans as we possibly can to cope with what we would hopefully be a short-term local lockdown. But I can assure you those plans are in place, and they've been thinking about them and getting them in place for quite some time. Let's just hope that we don't actually need them.
Thank you. Councillor Garrett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not a question, a congratulations. I'd like to thank the council, and I'm pretty sure most of the residents of the Old Dean would like to thank the council for completing in time, in fact early, the playground, which from all Facebook comments I've seen has been used heavily by lots of residents. Families of coming from all over the place from what I can see. Very successful. I'm sure Councillor Bates will agree with me. It's been a great success and is being used. You go over there, there's lots of children over there. So I'd just like to thank everybody, officers, etc., involved in that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to add to Councillor Garrett's remarks. I had the privilege going up to Old Dean to this new children's play area, and it's a dream for children. I'm so pleased that it's being well used. There appears to be no further questions for the leader. I move that under section 100A brackets 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the consideration of the business set out in items 15, 16 and 17 on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraphs 3 of part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to second that proposal.
Is that agreed, members?
Agreed.